Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Atha Tritiyodhyayah. In the last video, I started the chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita and I explained the first 13 verses. And the summary is, Arjuna was totally confused by hearing the chapter 2. He asked Lord Krishna, Krishna, you said about knowledge and karma, and you also said that knowledge is superior than karma. Then why are you asking me to do this ghora karma? So why should I do this karma now? Now tell me certainly which one is better. So Lord Krishna explained the whole of Karma Yoga in detail. He explained only Karma Yoga in a nutshell there, but in this chapter 3, he explains Karma Yoga in detail. He said that performing any action as a yoga, that is the best thing. But if you cannot do that, then don't fail to do at least your daily duties. At least do your swadharma. But doing even that swadharma without any attachment and offering and doing that action as for the sake of Lord, for the sake of God, that is superior. At least don't do it for your selfish reason. Do it as a sacrifice. Then you will be detached from that action. Then it is easy for you to attain liberation. And he also said, for attaining the kamya karma, for attaining the desired results, you have to perform yajna. And what Lord Krishna here means, not only the Vedic yajna. If you perform any action in the right way, and if you do dana, that is, share what all we have with others, then the Prakriti as well as the other beings will not fail to help you. Then you can attain your desired result. The whole of the Prakriti is working like this. Just to see the sun, it is just giving without getting anything back. The clouds, the famous example is the trees. We just plant them and even some trees, we do not even water them. It's because of the rain it is just growing. But it is giving us a lot of shade, fruits, everything. It's of great help for us. So the whole of Prakriti lives like that other than the human beings. So he is telling, lead the dharmic way of life or do dana. Then the Prakriti as well as the other human beings will not fail to help you in one way or other. In that way, you can have your desires satisfied. By helping like this, paraspara, both of you mutually will get help. You can help others and others can help you. And the same with Prakriti also. If you give to the Devas, then the Devas will give us back. But if you get without doing this yajna, or without sharing anything with others, or without doing any puja or sacrifice anything, then he is said as a stena, that is a thief. So these are the main points Lord Krishna said in the last 13 verses. And in these verses also, that is from verse 14, he continues to explain the same concept. I will recite the verse, that is Sloka 14 and 15, because then it will be very useful. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyatanna sambhavah yajnad bhavati parjanyah yajna karma samudbhavah karma brahmodbhavam vidhi ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्ययज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम्. What Lord Krishna say here is, the bodies, that is the beings, not only the gross body, but the prana, the mind, everything, that is here, particularly the gross body is meant. The gross body is nourished by annam, food. Not only rice, but the grains or whatever we eat, it's the processing of these grains and all that, fruits, everything. The food is produced by the rain. Not only rain, all the Prakriti helps it, but Lord Krishna is particularly saying about the rain. Because in those ancient times, there is no need for any artificial fertilizers. The soil itself was so fertile. But now it's not like that. So he's telling about, particularly about the rain only. So this human body or any body of the being is supported by the food, and the food is produced by the rain. Yajna bhavati parjanyaha. Yajna, that yajna produces rain. Here yajna means the same thing. It's not only the Vedic yajna, what we do to the Varuna Bhagavan to get back rain. Not only that, it is also included. It's only 10% of it, because how many people can do that yajna? In those times, the rishis were there to do yajna for the whole, beings get benefited from it. But not only that, Lord Krishna means, he also means that dharmic way of life, that righteous way of life, that dana we give. That's what people commonly say. In the place there where there are many dharmatmas, the people who do righteous act and the people who live according to the right way of life, the people who do a lot of dana, sharing everything with others, in that place the Prakriti will not fail. That is, the Prakriti will give them everything. The rain will not be more, the rain will not be less, the sun will not be, the summer will not be that scorching and blazing summer. It will be right. There will not be any storm or flood, anything. The place where the dharmatmas live, that place will be perfect. The Prakriti helps them, and the fellow beings also help to satisfy their desires. So this rain is produced by yajna. And how are this yajna produced? When we have to do a dharmic act, or if you have to do a dhanam, karma samudbhavaha, that is produced by action. The yajnas are produced by action. So the physical body is supported or maintained by the food, and the food is produced by the rain, and the rain is produced by the yajna, and the yajnas are done by any action. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. And these actions, how do we do an action? Who tells us that this action is right and this action is wrong? Only the Vedas. The Vedas give us the jnana. It gives the karma jnana. Here, Brahma means Vedas. In this context, it means the Vedas. So only from the Vedas we get this knowledge. The Shastras, the other Puranas, everything are based on these Vedas. So all this knowledge we get from the Veda. There are many types of karmas. That is, some karmas should be done, only then we can help others and get benefit from it. It will be beneficial for the others also. If we do any karma, it won't help them. Some karmas are nishiddha karmas. If you give a person any help, If you give them money and if they misuse them, we should not give them. So these are all Nishiddha karmas that are very well explained in the Vedas only. Some karmas are Kamya karmas. If you do this dana, then we will get a benefit. For example, the Godhana. If we feed the cow, then that is the benefit and the result we get just removes many of our prarabdha papas. So like this, who gives this knowledge? The Vedas. From where did this Veda come? Did anyone write it on their own? Did the rishis write it as their own, just like how we write a story? No. Brahmakshara samudbhavaha. Brahma, that is the Veda, aksharam udbhava, from aksharam. Akshara means that is imperishable. What is imperishable? That is that self, that Brahman. The imperishable Brahman, from that only the Vedas came. These Vedas, they were manifested along with the creation. When this creation manifested or unfolded, the Vedas as a subtle vibrations, they existed in this universe. They existed, still existing, they will continue to exist also. So these rishis, they have that power attained by their meditation, and they used that power to reveal these subtle vibration as Vedas. We all know that there exist as subtle vibrations in the universe. But how they exist? They don't exist like these Sanskrit words, like how we chant mantras. But the Sanskrit language, they resemble so much to this subtle vibration. That's why the rishis, they were able to understand these vibrations and reveal these mantras in the form of words in the Sanskrit language. And that's how we get benefit from these subtle vibrations. If they exist as subtle vibration, no one in this modern time is going to understand it. Only the rishis have that power to understand it. Just to see that their sacrifice, what did they gain from it? They just revealed it and they just went off. This is a sacrifice. So they just spent the whole of their lifetime understanding these vibrations and revealing this in the form of words in the Sanskrit language. That's why when you chant mantra in the Sanskrit language, it resembles so much to that original subtle vibration, and we get a tremendous effect from it. In any language, these mantras can be chanted, but it will not resemble that of that original subtle vibrations. That's the importance of the words of this language, Sanskrita. So these Vedas, they came from Brahma. That is the imperishable. You can say it as the self, you can say it as Atma, you can say it as Brahman, or the imperishable supreme consciousness. It has so many names. But it came from that imperishable Brahman. Tasmat, therefore, Partha, this in this yajna, that is in this karma, Brahma nityam yajne pradishtitam. So when you do a dharmic act, this Vedas are there. This Brahman is there. That's why this action is so powerful. So just see, we read Bhagavad Gita, and every day in the last, we chant this last verse. That is a very important verse, because Yatra Yogeshwara Krishnaha, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Sri Vijayor Bhuti, Dhua Nidhir Matir Mama. So wherever Lord Krishna and Arjuna are there, in that place all the prosperity will be there. So where are they? They are in the Bhagavad Gita. So when you chant this Bhagavad Gita, when you read it, when you understand it, when you hear it, in that place, Arjuna and Lord Krishna are there, And in that place, the prosperity will not fail. Whatever it is, the stable mind or the wealth or the prosperity altogether, that will be there. So that's the importance of Bhagavad Gita. Like this, each and every Shastra has its own importance. Just like that, when you perform a dharmic act according to the Vedas, prescribed in the Vedas, in that place the Vedas are there. In that place, from where did the Vedas come? Brahman. Brahman is there. Already Brahman is there. It's all pervading. But we will understand and realize that power. That's what it means. Brahma and Vedas are all pervading, but we will understand it, we will realize it in one way or other as our desires being satisfied, or some people blessing us. Anyway, if you perform that yajna, that is that dharmic way of life, in that place the Vedas are there. That's the what Lord Krishna says. So now the beings are supported by the food, and the food is produced by the rain, and the rain is produced by the yajna, and for the yajna one has to do an action. We have to do an action based on the Vedas, and the Vedas came from the imperishable Brahman. So this is the wheel of existence, the wheel of the universe. That's what is explained in the next verse. Evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayurindriya ramaha mogham partha sajivati. Evam pravartitam chakram, like this, the wheel of existence, that is, this wheel goes on revolving. The food nourishes the body, and the food is produced by the rain, and the produced rain we have to do yajna. To do yajna, we have to perform action, and the action is based on the Vedas, and the Vedas came from Brahman. Just like this. Ya iha na anuvartayati. A person who does not follow this wheel, then aghayu indriya ramaha, he is living in sin. Aghayu means he is living in sin, enjoying in the senses. Mogham partha sajivati. His life is a waste. Mogham means, it also means delusion, but in this context it means waste, vain, waste. His life is waste. A person who doesn't follow this circle, his life is waste. He has to do any action, and that too, the righteous action. He should not do any nishiddha karmas. He should do the karmas. Even if they are kamya karmas, we have to share that with others. That's what Lord Krishna said in that last verses. You give to the devas, and the devas get benefit from it. So you are also benefited by that act, and the devas also are benefited by that act. So like this, we have to perform dharmic action, or the yajnas prescribed in the Vedas, or do dhana, any one of this, and get benefit from it. If you fail to do this, then his life is a waste. यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव स सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते. Lord Krishna says that everyone has to follow this wheel of creation. But there is an exception. For whom? For a person who rejoices in the Atma. Atmarati, rejoices in the Atma. For a person who is satisfied in the self. Atma triptaha. A person who is content in the self. Atma tushtaha. For that person, he can come out of this wheel. Why? Because there is no work for him to be done in this universe. Why do we perform work? To get a salary or to get some object? Why are we going after that object? Because we feel that that object gives us trupti, that object makes us rejoice, that object gives us some content, that makes us bliss and happy, content. So we are going after that object. But in reality, what happens is that object is only an influence which kindles our blissfulness, our trupti, which is in us, which is our nature. This bliss, this satisfaction, this contentment, all these are our nature because I am that self. And the nature of the self is all that. But what I think is, that object gives me everything and I'm going after that, but all the time that object acts only as an influence to kindle all these, which is my nature. But a jnani, he is intelligent enough to understand that it is his nature and he does not need any external support. Even when an external object supports us or influences us, we are experiencing only a bit of it. But a jnani, he always rejoices in the self, satisfied in the self, exists in the self, content in the self. So he does not have any particular action to do. So he can be inactive. That is actionlessness. But if we become inactive even now itself, then we will go into that stage of tamas and inertia. That very clearly, again and again, Lord Krishna emphasizes. Naiva tasya krite nartaha na krite neha kaschana न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः. What Lord Krishna says is, he does not have any interest or he does not mind what is done or what is not done. What is already done, he has no mind for it. He is not concerned about it. And what is yet to be done, he is not concerned about it. Because he has nothing particular to be done in this world. Because he's just carrying his body and mind. So he just carries his body and mind. But what we think is that we are that body and mind and we give so much importance for our satisfaction of our mind. That's why we go after these objects and desires. But a jnani, he knows very well about that nature of the self. So a jnani has no concern for what is done and what is not done. And just like they will tell a story that a jnani, he was wandering on all the land and he just came to a village and sat under a big tree. Because in every village, in the center of the village, there will be a big tree. So he sat under that. And some women, they were carrying a pot of water and from the river and they just gave them the water. He just didn't mind. So they gave them fruits and something to eat. He just saw that and just looked at their face and just kept quiet. So they thought he will eat after some time and they went off. After some time, some children came and these children, they were known for their doing pranks. So they took away all those fruits, water, everything. And the jnani, he just saw them and didn't react to anything. And after some time, the children saw, because the children always need attention. That's why they do a lot of mischief and they do a lot of pranks. If no one respond to it, then they will keep quiet. So just like that, the jnani, he just saw the children's face and he just kept quiet, so calm, blissful. And the children thought, he's not responding. We also do not want it, so why not give it back? So they just kept the fruits, everything back in near him. That also he didn't respond. After some time, the children, they were so fed up and they just left the place. And the jnani, again, with that blissful face, he just sat there. So this is the nature of the jnani. Whatever we do him, they won't. He'll not be concerned about it. If you give him, no concern. If you do not give him, no concern. If you take away from him, no concern. But no one can approach that jnani so easily. He has that spiritual power which surrounds around him. No one can approach him without his desire. That's the point there. So like that, the jnani who is of this nature, who is content in the self, satisfied in the self, rejoices in the self, he has no particular work to do. He is not concerned about what is done or what is not done. That's the nature of the jnani, is again praised by Lord Krishna. Tasmadhasakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purushaha. Paramapnoti purushaha. By this nature, just that is Lord Krishna also tells Arjuna, therefore Arjuna, whatever you do without any attachment for it. Then a person will attain this Paramatma Gati. That is very unique, and that state is that supreme state, and one attains that supreme state. Whatever duty you do it without attachment. Therefore, Arjuna, go to the battle without any attachment. Do it for the sake of duty, or do it for the sake of God, or do it for the sake of anyone, but not for your selfish reason. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्तिथा जनगादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. What Lord Krishna says here is, he is giving the example of King Janaka. King Janaka was a great king. Why he is so considered as a great king? Because he had the perfect Atma Jnana. Once he was walking in his kingdom, and he happened to meet a sage who has 8 bends in his physical body. He is known, and by that reason, he was known as Sage Ashtavakra. And he was so blissfully sitting in a place. And King Janaka, he asked him, Mahatman, you have so many deformities, but you are so blissful. What is the reason behind it? And that sage Ashtavakra said, Rajan, I am not dependent on my body. So whatever happens to my body, if it has 8 bends or more than that, I am not concerned about it, because I am established in the self. And that sage later advised Atma Jnana to King Janaka. And King Janaka has perfect knowledge of the Atma. He always exists in that Atma, but still he performs all his duty, and he attained perfection by more and more perfection by doing that duty. And duty means not like this, just like going to office or doing our household duties. It's protecting the people of his nation, the entire nation. And that time the king were not like this. They took care of each and every family. They attended to the needs of each and every family personally. So protecting his subjects, that was his duty. In spite of that, he attained perfection by doing that duty without any attachment. How did he gain that knowledge? How was he able to perform that duty without any attachment? Because he had Atma Jnana. He was established in that Atma Jnana, at the same time performed his duties perfectly without attachment. That example Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna. यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. Not only King Janaka, there were many people like that. And not only King Janaka, even in the modern times, Swami Vivekananda, he had so many problems with his physical body because he went to America, and because of that very chill weather there, that didn't suit his health then. Because at that time we cannot take any precaution from this cold weather. So because of that, he had many problems, physical problems. Not only that, this mud, this Ramakrishna mud, to raise it, so much struggle he went through, so much struggle to raise fund for raising this Ramakrishna Math for all of us to benefit from it. What did he gain from it? He just built that mat and he went off. So the hundreds and hundreds of years we are going to benefit from it. All the future generation, the past generation, and we in the present generation are getting benefit from it. So much peace it is giving us. But he just struggled a lot to raise money for building that Sri Ramakrishna Math in Belur and in Chennai. If you read his complete works, so many things are written there. So all these are Dharmatmas. Swami Vivekananda had Atmajnana, but he didn't go to the forest and meditate in it. He didn't go to the mat and sat there and meditate. All the time, till his last breath, he struggled to help others. So that's what Lord Krishna also telling. Why do they work all that? Like that? So for a pramana, to set a standard, to set an example. Why? Because loga tat anuvartayate. The whole world will follow them. So that is the nature of the mind. If we think some person as powerful, or if they are according to our likes, then we follow them. Then our mind closely follow them. We imitate them, we follow them, we do what all they do. And that's why this ordinary film stars, they became celebrities. They became so powerful because we follow them. We follow a person thinking they are powerful, or they will be according to our likes of our mind. What we want to say, they will say. What we want to act, they will act. What we want to look alike, they will look like. So we follow them, and that's why an ordinary person is made a celebrity. So just like that, it is the nature of the mind to follow what we admire or what is powerful. So loga anivartayade, the whole world will follow them. So the responsibility of the people who are in power, it's their responsibility of that person to set a right standard, a good pramana. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Lord Krishna says, now he is giving himself as the example. He says, in this Trishu Lokeshu, in these three worlds, Buddhavasva, I do not have any act to perform. And he uses a very beautiful phrase, that is nothing to be unattained, avaptavyam, to be attained. That means I have attained everything, but still I work. He's giving himself as an example. In Mahabharata, it is explained that Lord Krishna was the charioteer of Arjuna. So, under this hot blazing sun in the mid noon, in the noon time, that hot blazing sun, without any food, or because in the war field no one can take food or anything, and under that hot sun, and the Kurukshetra, that place itself is a dry place. That's why they selected for that place for battle. And because the lot of horses are running, the chariots of so many chariots of all the kings are running there, and by that so much of dust it came out of it, and Lord Krishna was just profusely sweating because of heat. And always we can see him with a beautiful creed, and all his hair was so orderly set. But now it was just going here and there all over the face. It's just, his hair is falling all over the face, and it's so sweating, and that all the dust coming out from that war field or just settling on him. So his color itself changed, and all the time with full concentration he was riding that chariot. And he also had to take care of Arjuna also, because he has to protect him, because Arjuna cannot protect himself. He will go on fighting. It's the duty of the charioteer to protect the person who is behind him. So he was doing, what is the need for all that? Just to set an example for all of us. Because Lord Krishna knows that one day or other, this Bhagavad Gita will be followed by the world. No other chance. So he set a good example for all of us. That's what he is telling. There is nothing in this three world yet to be attained by me, but yet I always engage in action, Partha. That's what Lord Krishna says. Very touching verses. He says, Yadi hyahanna varteyam jadu karmanya tantritaha mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashaha. Mama vartma anuvartande manushya. Vartma means that is the path. And the people, Manushya, they will follow my path. If I remain inactive, then they will follow that. He didn't fight in the battle, but he was a charioteer, and that is the great responsibility. He took that responsibility. He came forward and took that responsibility. He didn't just advise the Pandavas and sit there in a corner. And he also engaged in action, so that he set a great example for all the people of the world to follow. So now Lord Krishna, he gave himself as the example for the people to follow. Very beautiful and touching verses or slokas by Lord Krishna. So I think I can take a break and continue with the rest of the verses of chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita in my next video. And before I conclude this video, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhudi Dhruvani Tirmatirmama. Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.